we're lucky in our lifetimes, we will get to witness what happens when a group comes together. A group with the same dream, the same passion, the same work ethic. And tonight, we get to witness as that group proves that men's college gymnastics is alive. Every athlete competing tonight was once a young child sitting in the stands at a meet just like this one. They got to watch as college athletes competed for something bigger than themselves. Since then, every single one of them has fought tooth and nail, wanting, working, and wishing for an opportunity like this. All right, welcome everybody to the Southwest Cup, the 2024 most prestigious GymACT event of the year until Nationals. My name is Kevin Ergo. I'm joined today by two-time team captain Chaz Vandemotter.
Good to see everybody. Thank you for being here with us today.
All right, we are getting locked and loaded here in the arena. We've got 5 teams competing tonight. Joining us from Colorado, we've got the Rocky Mountain Mavericks. They'll be starting on still rings. We've got Southern California United, also known as SoCal United, starting on vault. And on P-bars, we've got the Washington Huskies. Joining us on pommel horse is going to be the Bay Area Bandits from Northern California. And then your host for tonight, we've got 2 lineups coming to you from Arizona right here on a high bar and floor. We have an exciting lineup. The crowd is packed, and I am so stoked Chaz is here with me. I've been waiting years to have him on commentating one of these with us. So real quick, they're going to play the national anthem here in the arena. We're going to mute our microphones, and we're going to check out a really quick scoring video to make sure you guys are all up to date on how this wonderful sport is scored.
Okay, let's talk gymnastics. Men's gymnastics is made up of 6 events. Floor exercise, pommel horse, still rings, vault, parallel bars, and the crowd favorite, high bar. There are 4 types of skills on each event called element groups. Every time a gymnast completes one of these types of skills, they receive 5/10 of a point to their potential score, also known as their start value. Each skill the athletes perform is assigned a letter value with a corresponding addition to their start value, starting with A's equaling 1/10 of a point and currently going to I's equaling 8/10 of a point. All of this added together factors the gymnast's degree of difficulty. At the beginning of a routine, a gymnast begins with 10 points, known as their execution score. Throughout the routine, judges take away 1/10 for small errors, 3/10 for medium errors, 5/10 for large errors, and 1 full point for a fall from the equipment. These 2 scores added together make up the final score. Each team is allowed 5 athletes to perform on each event, with the top 3 scores counting towards the total team score. Then each event score is added together to create the total team score at the end of the competition.
All right, hopefully that helps some of us. I know this sport can be very, very confusing to follow, so hopefully that helped everybody out. Chaz, what are you looking for today?
You know, I am amazed at how many people we got out here. Shout out to this venue in Rawhide, Sun Devil Classic, and this competition has been going on for about a decade. But, you know, I was a big high bar guy back in the day, so I always love to see a little bit of high bar action. But, you know, just seeing this many teams out here, seeing men's gymnastics just thriving right now, it's electric, Kevin. It is electric right now.
You know, I couldn't agree more. You know, it's been a tough time in the sport of men's gymnastics. As we're getting our cameras all up, ready to go, first exciting rotation. But the sport of men's gymnastics was really struggling for a while, right before GymACT became a thing. And it was right as you and I left the college scene, and you know, it was really struggling. And then this new organization came out, and they said, "No, we're not dying. We're here. We are very much live. There are lots of guys that want opportunity, and that's what GymACT is about." So I am so stoked. The athletes are beginning their 2-minute one touch, so keep an eye on it. Really interesting thing, Chaz, that I really want to talk about was teams on the floor. Rocky Mavericks, SoCal United, and Bay Area Bandits. They're conglomerate teams, so they don't actually get to train together all the time. They come together at competitions to form a team. They train all over their area. I mean, that has got to be so difficult to form that team bond with that being the case.
Oh, I mean, you know, ASU has the luxury of being together every but because you love it. It's not regardless of seeing new teams, new faces like this. It's just it's a great thing to see for the sport.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. And Chaz, this may be one of the most full Southwest Cups I've ever seen. I'm looking around. If I had to guess, there's at least 1,000 people in the stands right now, and the meet has just started. And it's just so exciting to see because, you know, I remember being at Wells Fargo Arena back in the day with you, and 6,000 person arena, and we did everything we could. We were out giving away free tickets, doing backflips for people who promised they would show up to get 500 people to show up, you know?
Yeah. No, it's incredible to see what we got here, and you know, still going through this 2-minute touch. You know, one thing that's really important to note for everybody: athletes have 2 minutes collectively across their entire lineup, so they have to divide up this 2-minute brief time for everybody to get a touch, everyone to get ready. You know, that is quite a thing to do. So it looks like we're going to kick off right now, but yeah, this is electric right now.
Absolutely. Another really important thing to note is there is a women's level 10 session happening 10 feet from this competition. So it's been known to happen where the guys just get amped up because this is college gymnastics. This isn't club anymore. And that energy, that electricity flows over to the women's side. A couple years ago, we had a senior who was competing level 10, stuck her vault, and I swear I thought the building was coming down because it happened right as 3 of the college teams stuck. And I have noise canceling headphones on and my ears were bleeding. It was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if you love this sport, being in an atmosphere like this, it's just you feel like you're at home. And yeah, it looks like we're gonna have 2 people going at a time. Kevin, is that what I hear?
Yes, that's correct. We are only going to have 2 guys up at a time so that we can bring you guys a great presentation of the gymnastics, and it's really, hopefully, a little easier to follow. So we will be starting on floor and vault, and then those 2, they'll kind of roll into their next event all the way through, and then the teams will rotate. So.
Well, this first set for these guys is important. Usually, you're putting up a guy that you just believe in is going to get a hit. I mean, that's the strategy here is, the person that is the most consistent on your team that is guaranteeing they're going to go out there and start the momentum is usually who you're going to see first. It's not necessarily the guy with the hardest skills or the biggest difficulty, but it's just that guy that is just Mr. Consistent up there. So those are the kind of routines that I imagine we're going to see out the gate here for at least Arizona State and whoever else is kicking off with them on across floor.
I couldn't agree more. I think that first spot is actually when it comes to, because there's still a lot of drop one score, that's the one where it's like, it's not so much pressure. But at the same time, if you fall in that first routine, it is so hard for the next 4 guys behind you to pick up. Whereas if you hit, it takes the pressure off the rest of the lineup. And I agree, normally the guy that goes first is the guy that's just going to get a solid, clean hit and get the momentum moving and then build into your bigger athletes. So that last guy up that probably has the riskiest floor, set can actually catch a breath. So, Looks like we're getting ready to rock and roll right here. We should be starting on floor from Arizona State. This should be Will Howard. Hand goes up. Will Howard is up. Starting on vault for SC United, we've got Erica Chan. These are going to be the first 2 sets of the night. Let's see what happens.
And that's a big pass there. Double front pike. Absolutely nails it.
Fantastic. Nice controlled landings. Huge double layout. Oh, my gosh. We're sitting down, we're behind a crowd, so we can't really see, but I watched that entire skill because it was above everybody's head.
Those are 3 big passes. I mean, when you see routine construction, he's getting out of the way. His big skill is right there before he gets winded. And to have that much difficulty in the first 3 passes and now to be able to take a breath here on this press handstand, it's a luxury. It's downhill from here.
Absolutely. And, there's these presses, these non-acrobatic type elements, they're supposed to be one of the easiest, but man, they take so much strength. It is incredible that these guys, that's their breather. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, and the amount of times you see the wobbles on the handstands, he's absolutely crushing it right now.
I thought that was going to be the dismount. He's not done yet. Oh, thought he had the stick, kept it down to 1/10 on the landing. That was fantastic.
And Kevin, I may have misspoke because I thought we were playing it easy with our difficulty. That was a difficult set, executed very well. To lead off with 3 double flipping elements to start your routine. I mean, that is a lot of adrenaline. That takes a lot of energy. So, I mean, kudos. What a great start to floor.
Absolutely. Up on high bar now. First one for Sun Devil is going to be Mr. Corey Kaufman. This one's near and dear to my heart. He was actually one of my athletes in our junior program. So, oh, wow. Slips his hand. Oh, I thought he was going to hold on to that connection. What a fight to stay on the bar.
Now, the fact that you stay on when that happens, I mean, that's the difference. And you're not able to take that 30-second break when you fall. But, I mean, he is just chugging through this thing.
Absolutely. Hitting that nice in-bar endo. His feet are staying together through his hands. Should be a dismount right here. Let's see what he's got. Nice, clean double tuck. Smallest hop right there. That is a fantastic set for Corey. And P-Bars, this should be Bradley Stroud. Our camera should turn over to P-Bars here any second. Get to watch Bradley Stroud from the University of Washington. And taking to the pommel horse for Bay Area Bandits, this is Ryan E.
Now over on the P-Bars, really stretching the bars. You see a lot of the routine construction where they're going back and forth like it's floor across the P-Bars and really using his space well there.
All right. It was a great horse set from Bay Area Bandits. Going to the rings for Rocky Mountain, we've got Bart Baker.
You see a lot of these teams that they'll do jersey numbers on the back. I love doing that. I think it brings the dudes together. And when you've got guys across the country, you want to find ways to bring the team together. Putting jersey numbers on the back, it's cool. I love seeing that.
I couldn't agree more. I think it really brings, mainstream sport type feel to a non-mainstream sport.
Right, we're seeing a lot of that. Looks like Washington as well. Oh.
Just a little short on that dismount right there. All right, and with this new rotation order where we're getting locked in, making sure we know who's up on each event, this is a new format of competition trying to present the gymnastics. I believe this is Eric Chan on vault. Very, very nice.
Now, Kevin, people always ask me, like, what is the scariest event? And you'd think swinging around a metal bar, grabbing, re-grabbing, it's got to be vault. I mean, full speed. It's just got a lot of respect for anybody doing vault.
Absolutely. This is Nicky Franz for Arizona State on floor. Watch this guy. He is what I call tiny but mighty. He's not very tall, but man, is there a lot of power just packed in there. On high bar, this is Xander Agate, another guy from the University of Washington right here. Washington is known for their P-bar, so keep an eye on that P-bar lineup. Wow. Body press, handstand on floor, extra sticky. This is what I'm talking about. This guy is so strong.
When you see the difficulty on the non-acrobatic elements like that, I mean, between the Fedorchenko and that press, he's picked up some pretty serious difficulty there.
Absolutely, and that's a really hard place to pick up difficulty. On high bar, this should be Brett Balser. Again, another fun guy to watch right here on high bar. He's got a fairly unique high bar routine. Nicky kicking out of that double tuck, and you can hear the crowd just go wild.
Right in the corner.
And Chaz, you know what that is?
I think that's a Sun Devil stuck dismount, Kevin. I think that's what that is.
That's exactly what that is. Brett on the high bar, hitting that Weiler. Very, very nice. Up on pommel horse from Bay Area. This is Andrew Kirchner. Let's see what Bay Area has for us on horse.
Oh, and another Sun Devil stuck dismount over there on high bar. Now that's a dismount that I used to do, Kevin, there, where you're going over the top of the bar. Pretty unconventional, but I love the originality.
You know, I couldn't agree more. I love seeing that artistry and that originality coming back to the sport. Bay Area putting up another great pommel set as we head over to rings with Rocky Mountain Mavericks. This is going to be Gavin Roby taken to the rings for second turn of Rocky Mountain. Their first guy did have a big bobble. So, Chaz, as we talked about, that first guy up is so important. Right now, Gavin's in the hot seat. He's got to hit right here. Back upright straight planche, finding that hold.
That's a great start. That's a great start.
Next up on P-bars from Washington is going to be Trevor Rugen.
Some great control here on rings. I mean, to see those straps not moving, great Giants.
Really nice handstand work from Rocky Mountain here.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Now, it takes some serious timing when you've got that wobble in that handstand going into the dismount. It takes precise timing on when you're bailing and when you're going into that. So pulled it off great, right up and down on the dismount. Great stick, great routine.
Washington taking a hard slam on P-bars there, but man, staying on the bars, that was incredible. He actually clipped one of the bars on his downswing, but kept the skill moving. Big double tuck for Washington and just a little short. All right, jumping up to high bar from Sun Devil. This should be Austin Witt taking to the high bar. Next up on floor for Arizona State, this should be one of the twins, Caden DiGirolamo, another incredibly powerful athlete that is so much fun to watch. Check out these two routines from Arizona. Nice inbar work. Continuing that swing. Big double tuck.
There it is again.
That's another Arizona stick.
This is rotation one. Rotation one, we're seeing quite a few sticks. And you want to do it for your team. Once you start stringing together some sticks, I know a lot of teams will track their stick percentage and work on optimizing for that with the routines. So over the course of the season, so to see them, you know, at near 50% stick rate in this first rotation is big.
100%.
And that is a huge pass. Oh my word.
Caden DiGirolamo taken to the floor for Arizona as Jack Miller gets ready to take to the P-bars for Washington. So much big tumbling from Caden. He is a senior. He has been a staple of this team for so long. Him and his twin brother are both on this team together, which I can't imagine what that's been like going through this era of life and their gymnastics career together, both ending up in the same place. It's got to be so special for them to be on the floor senior night right here. Let's see what he's got as he comes in over the end of this routine. Chaz, was that another stick?
They can't stop. I mean, now Coach Barkley might have some adhesive he's putting on the bottom of their feet. I'm not sure. We'll have to ask him about that. But great start for ASU here on senior night over there on floor. And I want to call out that first pass that we saw, front full punch, double front. Doing a twisting forward flipping element into a double forward flipping element is so difficult. That punch and the timing to get the height there is just insane.
All right, and on pommel horse, this is Ezekiel Eason from Bay Area. Just came off, and this is another hard one. He now has to put himself together. He's only allowed 30 seconds to get his head on straight, calm his nerves, and finish strong for his team.
We got a nice fight over here on P-bars. These are the moments right here.
Just coming up.
Tough break on the dismount.
All right, taking to the rings for Rocky Mountain. This is Caleb Dermarest. See what he's got for us here. We're sitting just behind him, so we get a live view at this back upright straight planche. Taking to the high bar, this is Noah Hansen for Sun Devil.
Now those elements, those strength elements, Kevin, the judge is looking at the angle in which you are entering into those elements. They're looking at how long you're holding it, how straight your body is, and if there's any movement. A lot to be looking at at once for these judges. Thank them for being here. They've been doing a great job.
Absolutely. A lot of these judges have been here all weekend with the junior meet, and that takes a lot out of them. It takes so much mental power. So we thank the Judges Association for being here, making sure they help these athletes get the scores they deserve and continue through this great competition. Rocky Mountain put a great setup there. Washington next. I believe this is their team captain, Andrew Lehman. This is one to watch on P-bars. Taking to the floor exercise for Arizona. This is going to be Aiden Myers, another great one to watch. This is going to be a great rotation, Chaz.
Over there on P-bars, you see a lot of guys starting that routine and picking up some difficulty right there at the end of the bars before he moys out there into the middle.
Some great flare work over there from Aiden on floor. All right, Andrew on P-bars has got to be coming in for a dismount any moment. Let's see if they can find it. Much better
That's
dismount.
a big routine. That's a big routine. You know, we were talking about the pressure rises if your first couple of routines struggle a little bit. As you get to the end of that rotation, it becomes even more important to hit because you don't want to be going into that second or third rotation, having to come back versus trying to build a lead. So big set out of the captain.
All right, this is going to be another exciting one. Keep an eye on that bottom right-hand corner. William Pierce taken to the horse from Bay Area Bandits. This guy, very, very close to qualifying to Winter Cup. He is fun to watch, and this is why right here. Sean taken to the high bar for Sun Devil.
Now, if you guys can't tell, he is doing flares with his hands outside the pommels. This is huge difficulty. You do not see a lot of people doing this much flare work and just swings right up to a handstand. What a great set. Clutch, and you gotta love having a guy like that with a little bit of long hair. It's flowing in the wind. You love to see it. Big number 23, wearing MJ's number and doing big things on the horse.
On P-bars, this is Drake Minsell from Washington.
Now, as we mentioned, as you get deeper into the lineups on these sets, you start to see a little bit more difficulty. So we'll see if that holds true. And for those of you wondering what the heck he's doing up there, it's called a false grip. Is off to a good start here on rings.
And this is Jacob Krebs from Rocky Mountain on rings. Some great giant work. Here he comes through to his dismount. Can he find it? Great control on that landing. He does pick the foot up, so it doesn't count as a stick, but still a great set from Rocky Mountain. Taking to floor exercise. This is definitely here. Jackson Harrison from Arizona State. Jackson is definitely known for his originality and some of his artistry, but he is also backing it up with a whole lot of power. Keep an eye on that bottom right-hand screen right here. Huge double tuck with a small dismount deduction there.
And the timing there on the bounding of those elements and being able to rebound, I mean, it just takes so much time and preparation, and, you know, to see him doing it with such ease, it's great to watch.
Absolutely. He's a taller athlete than we normally see, but man, oh man, does he make this look, Jackson makes this look so easy for everybody. And he really does a great job of performing the gymnastics.
Well, you're right. I mean, I'm 5'10", and I was like the second or third tallest guy on the team when I was competing. And so to see him, I mean, also floor is one of those apparatus where the taller you are, it feels like the more difficult it is.
And that's another Arizona stuck dismount from team captain Jackson Harrison.
That's a big set there to bring it home. What a great start for the ASU team over on floor. Whole lot of control, and you really take the pressure off the last guy to compete when you put up the numbers that they've been putting up there.
And this is Sam from Bay Area right here on Pommel Horse. Solid set from Bay Area after a little struggle early in their lineup.
That dismount is so difficult, Kevin. You're going to see a lot of people tonight that are doing this handstand dismount, and it's not supposed to be a press handstand. You're supposed to be swinging up into a handstand. The judge is going to be watching to see if there's any kind of hesitation, if your feet are continuing to rise, if you're actually swinging into that handstand. And that's a major deduction if you're slowing down or stopping before getting up into that handstand on the pommel horse dismounts.
Absolutely, and this is Kyler Hartley up on rings from Rocky Mountain. This guy is strong. Hips are all the way open in that straddle planche position. No wobbles, holding it that full 2-second count. Great handstand shape, shoulders are off the straps. That alone takes 10 plus years to develop. And these guys are making it look like it took them 5 minutes. Coming in strong, he's looking great. Coach Tabor getting excited. Let's see if he can find. And just a small
for those of you that couldn't pick that up on the video, that was a double twisting, double backflip off the rings after the amount of skills that he just went through to get to that dismount. That is so impressive.
All right, taking to the floor exercise. Final routine of this rotation. This is team captain Ryan Swachino. Another very powerful athlete. He's struggled a little bit with landings. He's got some tape on that ankle. It might have something to do with it, but see if he can settle down just a little bit and find a good solid landing. Oh. Into his group one work, catching his breath, and this is, Chaz, in these strength elements, it's so hard to settle down and catch your breath and refocus after a fall like that.
Well, and on top of that, I mean, the adrenaline that's pumping when you're doing these double flipping elements, and then to stop everything and do a press handstand, that's some of the most difficult stuff you're going to deal with is trying to settle down and focus on something as simple as a press handstand.
Absolutely. And that brings us out of the end of rotation one. As soon as we can, we're going to get a score update, and we'll let you know where the teams stand at the end of the first round. All right, we are rotating into rotation two. Sun Devil, which is one of the Arizona lineups, will be going to floor exercise. Arizona State, which is the other one, is going to be going to pommel horse. The Bay Area Bandits are going to be taking to still rings. Rocky Mountain's headed to vault. SoCal United will be headed to parallel bars, and Washington will be headed to high bar. Now, Chaz, one of the other things I wanted to talk about tonight is the fact that Washington Huskies have invented at least 4 release moves that I can come up with off the top of my head. I don't know what is in the water up in Washington, but those guys can swing high bar.
And, one of my favorites is actually a double twisting Jaeger. This skill is insane. I believe it's called a Crockett. And, for those of you that are wondering what the heck that is, when you see it, you're thinking the same thing. But, yeah, and they're going to get a little bit of an open warm-up here. This is important, too, because these guys will warm up in an open warm-up for an hour and a half, call it, before the meet. And so some of these guys, especially as you get into the deeper events, will be specializing in maybe only the 5th or the 6th rotation. And so they'll be sitting here watching the whole competition with only 1 or 2 routines that they're going to be doing. And so to go from warming up to waiting for an hour or two to then having to get back in the zone during a 2-minute touch, it's one of the most difficult things. I know there are times where all I would compete is high bar, and if the team starts on floor, you may not touch that high bar from the open warm up again for, call it, 2 hours, and you got 30 seconds on the bar to get ready, get your blood flowing again, and then go up there and hit a pressure set. So this 2-minute touch is very important for some of these guys that have been sitting there for the last, call it, 15, 20 minutes during the first rotation that maybe didn't compete.
Absolutely. You know, it's so difficult. You know, I normally only compete at 2, maybe 3 events, and even then you warm up for an hour and a half, you're hyped up, and it's so hard to conserve your energy and actually be ready to compete. You know, especially when, like you said, Chaz, you competed one event, so you do the team warm up with us. You know, as a team captain, you'd lead it, you would help run it, make sure the whole team was ready to go, and then we'd have an hour and a half to go, be ready, be on it, be ready to go, you know, everything locked, dialed, and then all of a sudden you've got to just go sit and hang out for 45 minutes in an hour and a half open warm-up before you actually go do your own warm-up, and then you sit another 4 hours if you're in the Olympic order, and then, oh, by the way, you got to throw down a high bar routine.
Right. I mean, you know, it's difficult. And you know, the other thing, it's a trademark in the sport of men's gymnastics at the college level, is these guys are going crazy for each other. They're yelling and screaming for each other the whole time. And, you know, you may not think that seems kind of trivial, like, oh, you're cheering for your teammates, but you go and scream for your teammates for 25 routines in a row, that'll take something out of you, especially when you're in the heat of the moment and you're competing against your rivals. So, you know, that will definitely take a little bit of something out of you. So these guys definitely, you know, that are competing only 1 or 2 events definitely need to be pacing themselves here.
Absolutely. And one of the things you just mentioned, you know, rivals is such an interesting term in the sport of gymnastics because, to be honest, yes, we're rivals on the floor. It's no mystery that, you know, Arizona and Washington have always had a great rivalry. But at the end of the day, you love seeing these guys. I mean, walking around on the floor today, there were so many guys that you and I competed against that we were in locked and head-to-head battle with. But at the end of the day, you just want to see them, and you want to see them do their best. All right, starting off on floor for Sun Devil, this is Chris from Arizona.
You're going to see a lot of these back 2.5 twists at the blind landing. After doing 2.5 twists, it's so difficult to spot the floor. On the lookout for that blind landing.
Absolutely. On vault from Rocky Mountain, that was Ethan Zinnick. Unfortunately came up a little short. Rocky Mountain's having a hard time finding their landings, but there's a lot of gymnastics left to do here tonight. All right, taken to high bar from Washington. Oh, I apologize. We are headed to P-bars. On P-bars for SC United, we should be seating Peter Saab, and taking to the horse from Arizona, this is going to be Justin Smith. Keep your eye on that pommel horse screen. This guy is an animal on horse. He was in full judging attire yesterday, suit and tie. Watched him jump up and do probably 15 Russians in a row, just taunting somebody else. And I do apologize. We are on high bar with Washington with Trevor Ruggieri.
And that one pommel work is so difficult. I mean, that pommel is maybe an inch wide. And so to be spinning as fast as he is, and there's some Russians, it's so difficult. You know, they teach you on pommel horse that you want to almost be swinging out of control. And it looks like he's done just that. A great routine.
Solid start on horse right there. I agree. Horse is so much about precision, and that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. So many people, Chaz, tell me, oh, pommel horse is so boring, but it's all about precision. Starting off on rings for Bay Area, this is going to be Ezekiel Eason.
Some Yamawakis there. It's the equivalent of a double front while holding onto the rings. It'll take a toll on your shoulders, but you'll see a lot of those here tonight. You can pick up some really nice difficulty. A few people you'll see do 2 of those in a row.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of difficulty being picked up there. We just shot over to floor. This is Brett Balser on floor. Caleb was up on Rocky Mountain Mavs for vault there, taking, unfortunately, another fall. So Rocky Mountain, as a coach or a captain, Chaz, when your team starts to struggle like that, how hard is it to bring it back?
You know, it's natural that people are going to start to get a little worried. They're going to start to muscle their routines and not swing freely. The thing that you got to do as a captain, as a coach, is just calm everybody down. You know, remind them that we've been here before. You've done these routines a million times. You know what you got to do. And, you know, the last thing you want to do is have people operating out of a place of fear. You want them operating out of a place of confidence. So it's all about a mindset of getting your guys back focused and, you know, stringing a few together. That's all it takes. A couple of great routines will cure everything.
Absolutely. And this is Bradley Stroud from Washington coming in for a big dismount. Double twisting, double layout with just a small hop on the landing. What a great routine from Washington.
Those guys will do what's called a Chinese tap going into their dismount. It may look like they're just swinging as fast as they can, but it's a way to get the bar moving in a way that launches you up and gives you some room to complete what he just did, which was a double twisting, double layout.
Awesome. This is going to be Nikki Franz taken to the horse for Arizona, as it should be Bart Baker getting ready to go on vault. I do have first rotation scores real quick. The Arizona State men's gymnastics team started the first rotation with a 53.6. The Bay Area Bandits 42.6. Rocky Mountain Mavericks 48.8. And SoCal United 39.1, with University of Washington at a 49.9. So definitely a large spread after one rotation, but Chaz, as you and I both know, a lot can happen in just one rotation.
And a beautiful routine there from Arizona State, and that's how you do that handstand dismount. You can see him swinging straight up into the handstand, no hesitation. That's how they draw it up. That's how it's supposed to be done.
Absolutely. And over here on P-Bars is Eric Sherbert from SoCal United, as this is Sam Morelos from Bay Area Bandits. There's that double flipping work talking about, Chaz.
Yep. Now watch out for these dismounts. The judges are going to be watching for a few things. Their preparation coming into the landing. Do they have time to get their feet under them, or are they just squeaking it around? Are they piking down? Is their chest down? All of that goes into consideration when they're looking at that dismount, and as well as obviously the steps are sticking it.
Awesome. Absolutely. Riley Lyman up on high bar for Washington. Big release, huge straddle Tkachev over the top, as Sean takes the floor for Sun Devil. Some big gymnastics happening right here. Another big Tkachev there.
And there's the Chinese tap. Pulls it around.
Just a small step forward. So far, a lot of great landings from Washington. On vault, I believe this is Jacob Krebs from Rocky Mountain Mavs. Let's see if they can calm themselves down and find a strong landing right here. Very strong vault.
See, Kevin, that's all it takes. A vault like that, a landing like that, you can really turn your team around from something like that.
Absolutely, and there's another stuck dismount from Arizona. That is incredible. They have stuck, at their inner squad a few months ago, they really had a hard time sticking, and it looks like they have fixed that problem for sure.
We got a big set over here from one of the captains on pommel horse. This should be a great one to watch.
Yep, this is Clayton. And on high bar for Washington, this is Zach Murray.
Now on horse, you're going to see, I mean, the judge is looking for hip extension. They want to see you with flat hips, and Clayton is so great at getting those hips flat. And another great dismount there. That's how you do it. That's clutch. Over there on pommel horse, that is clutch. That's what you want to see from your captain.
Absolutely great set from Clayton, and that's what he's known for, Chaz, is he is known for hitting pommel routines. I don't think he is quite as good as our old teammate, Zeke Howell, who in his entire gymnastics career in college, people, I kid you not, every single time Zeke put his hand up at a saluted routine in practice or in competition, he didn't fall. That is just such an incredible statistic to me.
Well, and on pommel horse, it's so difficult. I mean, like I said, you know, they coach you to want to feel like you're just on the brink of feeling out of control. It creates this like weightlessness when you're swinging, and it allows for you to get those hips flat. The faster a guy can swing circles, generally speaking, the better he's going to be at pommel horse.
Absolutely. And Washington having to recover from a fall there on high bar as we're waiting to take on Albert Chang on rings from Bay Area Bandits.
Yeah, mentally it's so difficult to be recovering from a fall like that. You just got to move on. You just got to, there's usually some strategy too. Sometimes a coach will have you repeat a skill. Sometimes they'll have you take a skill out so you can just get through and get the dismount. But way to recover there by Washington.
Absolutely, and Chaz, as you mentioned, that one really nice vault from Rocky Mountain turned them around. Their last three vaulters absolutely stomped their vaults. And there's that connection we were going for on rings again that you were talking about earlier that is so difficult to keep your pressure. And that's the hardest thing on rings is at all times, no matter if you're upside down, flipping, holding, whatever, you have to keep those rings pulled tight to the ground. And that's what Chang struggled with right there in that connection.
Way to finish. And, you know, you're absolutely right. When you see in these ring routines, it's all about having tension on those rings.
And this should be Noah Pack for Sun Devil up on floor.
Now, one thing about floor that's important to note is you have just over a minute to complete your entire routine. And so depending on how quickly you're starting off, how many skills you have in your routine, sometimes you get to the end of that routine and you got to rush to get the dismount in time, and you have a deduction for going over time. So that's definitely going through guys' minds as they come through their routine into the dismount.
Absolutely. Andrew Lehman up on high bar. This is an exciting one. Connected to a straddle Tkachev on high bar for Washington.
Looks like he's coming around into this dismount here.
Just a little short on that rotation, ends up dropping his knees. Great high bar routine other than that landing right there from Andrew.
Yeah, these high bar dismounts, as you watch, he let go a little bit early and that flattened him out, didn't give him enough height. You want to be letting go in this candlestick shape at about a 45-degree angle to give yourself as much time in the air as possible.
And you know, Chaz, I think we need to go inspect that floor for some adhesive tape or something in that corner, because that was another Arizona stuck dismount. All right, we are on pommel horse with Zachary Litwin from Arizona State.
And you can see the speed of those circles there. His momentum is able to carry him through some of those difficult elements.
It's another local Arizona kid. Went to Arizona Olympian Gymnastics not far from here. It's great to see those guys continuing. It's also great for GymACT to know they're providing great opportunities for more guys to come. Jumping up on rings from Bay Area. This is going to be Adam Barba taking to high bar from Washington. There should be, I believe it's Galen. I apologize if I mispronounce anybody's name. I'm doing my best here, but we love that we get to bring this gymnastics to you. Please make sure, help us out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help make sure you support some great college gymnastics, and make sure that you don't miss any action right here on the GymACT YouTube channel.
A tough fall there on the Tkachev. A lot of the times you'll see if you don't get that dowel on your grip around the bar, what happens is it's called peeling off. But that dowel, if it doesn't get wrapped around the bar and the regrab, generally you're going to see people peeling off, not be able to hold onto that bar through the bottom.
Absolutely. An on-floor exercise from Sun Devil. This should be Danny B. And as Washington remounts high bar.
It's so hard to come back. Let's see if he tries to repeat this release move. Sometimes they'll have you move on. Other times they'll have you try it again.
And here it comes right here. Fantastic the second time.
And that's so difficult. I've had times where you miss a release and you got to repeat it. The pressure just mounts. You're tired. You know you can't fall a second time, and so that's clutch there.
And just ran out of gas a little bit right there on that dismount, but I couldn't agree more, Chaz. Having to get back up after a fall, because routines really do find a flow. They kind of have a rhythm. It's almost like a choreographed dance where once you break that choreography, it is incredibly hard to get back into, quite literally, the swing of things.
I see what you did there. That was nice. I like that.
And that's another stick for Arizona on floor.
As we get some t-shirt action into the crowd on those sticks. You'll love to see it. Some fans going home with some souvenirs.
That's it right there, especially because half the kids sitting in the audience are my athletes. Love to see them here, looking forward to the future, looking to do more. All right, on still rings right now from Bay Area Bandits is actually William Pierce. Looks like we had an order change up here, so our cameraman's moving over. I want to say thank you to our two camera guys for helping us be able to bring this to you live from Southern Arizona. William Pierce from Bay Area right here. As soon as this is done, we're going to turn around and bring you Pommel Horse from Arizona State, Arush. Big front 1.5 from William.
We're seeing a lot of those front twisting dismounts on rings. You got to stay disciplined and ride that backswing up before you let go so you can get some height on those. He pulled it off great.
Absolutely, and Arush over here for Arizona State is just cooking up something big. That's up. That dismount swung up so well like we were talking about earlier, and then he couldn't quite get his hands around and ended up coming off the wrong side of the horse, it looked like there. But other than that, such a strong routine for Arush.
Well, those guys will practice that pure wetting on generally on a horse that's on the floor, but the amount of times that you have to get that timing down, those pirouettes at the end of the routine, it becomes muscle memory.
Absolutely, and this is Austin Witt on floor for Sun Devil. As I mentioned, the Arizona program actually has two full lineups. They've got guys split into two teams. They normally go out and compete as the maroon and gold team. It is very similar to like a JV and a varsity type team, so you see a lot more freshmen on the maroon lineup, and that's who is being represented as Sun Devil here today. And that's who's on floor right now with Austin Witt. Showing off that flexibility and strength right here in his non-acrobatic.
And you've got to hold these for 2 seconds without moving. Looks like he did that, but I mean, like I've been saying, it's easier said than done. Those easy things in your routine can oftentimes be what costs you.
Absolutely. And there's another stuck dismount from the Arizona guys. Man, they really took to heart how they did at their inter squad and turned it around. And here comes the t-shirts. All right, Chaz, the final routine of the rotation right here from Arizona State's very own Aiden Myers.
Every once in a while, you end up being the last guy up. Everybody in the entire arena is watching you, and that's what Aiden's got in front of him, and on pommel horse nonetheless. And it looks like we have a former NCAA national champion judging pommel horse tonight as well, which is a cool sight. He of all people knows what to look for.
Absolutely. And Mr. Aiden right there knows it. The judge he's referring to is Rob Carey. He's actually part of Arizona's very own national championship team from back in the day. We love that he is here judging for us tonight. I love seeing that it's known as the Arizona State Mafia, where you go to a meet, every judge, every coach, whatever is based around this program. Let's see what Aiden's got for us, working on that single pommel. Down onto the leather. Putting in that woo. Fantastic leather work from Aiden. Small split in the legs. He swings so fast, Chaz.
And, it's so hard when you're standing there next to the pommel horse for 10 minutes waiting for the judge to raise his arm, and looks like he makes it all the way around. Little hiccup there on the dismount, but, that was a nice fight and, way to bring it home for him in a pressure set with everybody watching him. And it looks like they're actually not going to give him credit on that dismount. He's going to redo it here. So unless you're hitting a full handstand, that won't count as a skill on your difficulty, on your start value. And so that's the reason for repeating it there. That'll end up going as a fall. But nonetheless, that was a great fight. We always used to say at practice, Kevin, and people didn't love me for this over in the pommel horse corner, but you better land on your butt. You better not land on your feet if you're falling on pommel horse. And that shows how much you fight for it, is if you can land on your feet on a fall on pommel horse, you didn't fight hard enough.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things, yes, it counts as a fall, but if he doesn't get up and repeat it, he doesn't get credit for doing this amount, which means he's down 5/10. Then he doesn't get credit for what's normally a C or D value skill, so there's another 3 or 4/10 there. So he ends up saving himself almost a full point in deductions by getting up and repeating it. All right. We're moving into rotation 3. It's been an exciting first 2 rotations. These guys are absolutely killing it. All right, moving on to rotation 3. Washington's going to be headed to floor. And Chaz, they've got a little bit of work to do. High bar was a little rough for them.
Yeah, usually floor and vault are going to be higher scoring events. Generally, you'll see guys have higher difficulty on floor. And, it's one of those events where you can kind of just let it rip. So we'll see how much they can claw back here on floor with generally a lower scoring event, rings here for ASU.
Absolutely. And Sun Devil, who was on floor, this is going to be the maroon lineup from Arizona, is going to pommel horse, and they've been having a really, really good night. But that can be dangerous, too, on pommel horse, because if these guys are amped up and they're trying to swing too hard, it's way too easy to slip a hand placement. So then Arizona State, which has also been having a great night, is going to be headed to rings, which, again, is going to be the same as on pommel horse, where if they can't control their nerves and calm it down, it's going to be hard to keep it all together and make sure they find their holds.
Pommel is one of those. Yeah, pommel is one of those events where it's really critical for your momentum. It's one of those events where going in, flukes can happen, or falls can happen, and so it can really make or break your momentum. And we saw ASU there in the last rotation use pommel as a way to build some momentum. So it's a critical event, and we'll see if this other maroon team here can do the same thing.
Absolutely. Then we actually only have 5 competing teams this rotation. Bay Area Bandits will be taken to vault with a full lineup. Rocky Mountain Mavs will be on P-bars. And I was notified just before competition began. Unfortunately, High Bar will not have anyone competing from SoCal United. They've had some injuries and some struggles that they're going to go ahead and take High Bar off this competition and be back strong for their next one. All right, I was just handed scores. Here we go. Let's see what happened in rotation 2. The Arizona State men's gymnastics team is holding strong with a 103.85. The Bay Area Bandits coming up to an 88.15. Rocky Mountain Mavericks, oh my gosh, Chaz. Rocky Mountain Mavericks, 103.95. They have taken the lead by 1/10. The Rocky Mountain Mavericks, one of the younger teams in the GymACT team, just took the lead at the Southwest Cup. SoCal United coming in strong with a 71.65. With University of Washington at a 98.15. University of Washington has some work to do, but Rocky Mountain has to keep a strong rotation going to keep this going. All right, starting off the action on floor from Washington, Bradley Stroud.
Yeah, and Kevin, that's awesome for Rocky Mountain, and you know they're coming off, as I mentioned, a high-scoring event in vault, so we'll see how that propels them into P-bars and high bar. But yeah, it is neck and neck right now.
And Bay Area just put their first guy up, Ryan, on vault. All right, taken to the parallel bars from Rocky Mountain. This is Gavin Robbie. So let's keep an eye on that parallel bar camera. Let's see if Rocky Mountain can keep the pressure. And we do have a scoreboard up in the arena, and that can be a gift, but it can also be a curse because of Rocky Mountain, who's a younger team that's never beat an established team like like Washington. If they looking at that and they get all the jitters in, they're gonna have our time keeping it under control.
Well, and that's always something I tried to tell our guys is, especially when you're the captain, you don't want people staring at the scoreboard. We got to go out there and control what you can control. You got one job, and that's to go out and execute your set. And so you get too involved in the scoreboard, it can be detrimental to your mindset and your focus when it comes time to get up there and do a routine.
Absolutely, and this is Brett Balser on
big fight.
Staying on with Andrew Kirshner from Bay Area laying down a great vault.
Now, that was a great fight. Way to stay on there. You know, the tough part is when you're fighting, if you got to do a couple of extra front loops as you saw him do there, that is going to make you susceptible to more execution deductions. You want to get on and get off with the least amount of circles as possible, but way to recover.
Absolutely. Will Howard from Arizona State taken to the rings as Cody Myers takes the P-bars from Rocky Mountain. Rocky Mountain's first routine was pretty strong. Oh, as they struggle right here with that Stutz to handstand. Will showing off those incredible strength skills on rings.
Yeah, that Maltese is one of the most difficult skills you can do on the rings.
And Chaz, you know, there's something we haven't talked about all night yet. You can just see him in the back of the rings camera. We do have Assistant Coach of the Year for probably 2 decades here in the arena tonight. Rob Cervic is in the arena tonight. Last year, this meet was actually named in his honor, and he is actually present tonight. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been supporting him and his struggle with ALS. It is so good to see him here, able to enjoy what he does and be here with us in the arena.
Couldn't say enough good things about Coach Rob. He's an inspiration. He's been a part of the ASU team for so long, and I had the pleasure of having him coach me, and you know, just an incredible dude. And great to see a nice ASU routine there to kick off rings. Looks like they've continued to keep that momentum building going into this third rotation there, Kevin.
Absolutely. Trevor Ruggieri's up on floor for Washington as Evan McGrath goes to parallel bars for Rocky Mountain. Rocky Mountain's had a few bobbles, and really what we're watching right here is Washington versus Rocky Mountain for that second place spot. And we're also keeping an eye on Rocky Mountain versus Arizona to see who's going to take that top spot after this rotation. Rocky Mountain settling in with some great handstand work. Let's see if he can find a strong dismount. And that's a stick.
He pulls it around.
Rocky Mountain saying, we are here, we're young, we're a new team, but we are not to be messed with.
It's exciting to see them. And I mean, as you mentioned earlier, Kevin, these guys don't practice with each other. So to see them getting so excited with one another and getting to share this moment in this competition, it's just really awesome to see.
Absolutely. And taking to the palm horse for the Sun Devil Maroon lineup is Austin Witt. You guys could probably hear in the background, his team has a whole chant and cheer around him every time he's up. And Chaz, I think that's just one of the things that, well, if you're talking D1, NC2A, GymACT, D3, whatever, I think that's one of the best things that could ever happen to these young men at such a pinnacle point in their lives, is to have this support system around them and all centered around the love of the sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's special, the relationships you build. And you know, they say that the nicknames you get are kind of like a Christmas present. You don't get to decide it, and you're stuck with it. So you'll see some of these guys with nicknames and chants, and it's cool to see how creative people can be around these things.
Absolutely, and Rocky Mountain putting up Jacob Krebs right here. Let's see if he can build.
Yeah, and he's had a good meet so far. He's really holding it down for them. His scores are counting on every event, and we'll see what he can put together here on P-bars.
Absolutely, and Austin right there having to repeat his palm horse dismount. He actually fell on it on his first attempt to repeat it and then had to pick it back up. Such a tough spot. Rocky Mountain putting down front full, and that's another stick. They are really, really fighting for that top spot. Austin Myers taking the still rings.
And yeah, that Yamawaki-Johansson combination, we've seen a lot of people struggle with that tonight. He pulls it off very nicely. Now he's got a little bit of swing in these rings, so he's going to be timing that giant. And it looks like he perfectly times it there. Dismount coming up. And that's beautiful. Now that's a difficult dismount there. Blind landing on that full and a half. Does it to perfection. Stomps it. We like to say that when you're landing, you want to be pushing your feet into the ground and not letting the ground hit you in the feet. And when you got a little bit of time and that kind of air time that we just saw in that dismount, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to stomp that dismount.
Absolutely, and Washington has their last guy up, or I'm sorry, has their next guy up. This should be Jack Miller. Apologize, eyes are jumping all over the page. Up on floor.
And over there on floor, you're going to see some interesting geometry in terms of routine construction. This guy is doing what we call like a half diagonal, but everybody kind of to each their own when it comes to routine construction. And if you're going down and back, or you're doing half diagonals or side passes.
All right, and here comes the exciting one. We got Kyler Hartley from Rocky Mountain Mavs taking to the parallel bars. They've had two great routines. They've got to put up another one here to stay in this fight.
And an unconventional mount. This mount is difficult. It's like a free hip. Looks like he doesn't get his hips quite far enough under him. I mean, and I've tried this thing over there on P-bars. I mean, when you're holding onto that bar, one of the rails is right up against your neck. It feels like you're being choked by the bar. It's such a hard way to start a routine, and that's why it's so difficult. That's why you get the big points for pulling it off.
And Noah Pack putting up a great set right there from Arizona on pommel horse. Interesting coaching decision over here on P-bars. Coach Tabor decides not to have him repeat it and instead just do the kip between the bars.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes when it's a big routine like that and when you got a lot on the line and great 1 1/4 there. But a routine like his where you can tell he's got some difficulty, they're really hoping that his score is going to count, and maybe not after that with the second fall on P-bars.
Such a bummer. They're gaining some steam. We'll see what they can do. This is Nikki Franz on rings for Arizona State. Straight plunge. We saw him do it on floor, and he just did it on rings. Wow.
That makes it look easy. That's so much more difficult than you think.
Rocky Mountain Maz finishing up with a decent dismount there.
And you'll see a lot of guys doing that double pike. The difference between a double tuck and a double pike, it's a 10th. It gives you full credit for that element group on P-bars, but such a hard landing coming down in a pike position.
Well, and Chaz, interesting new rule for GymACT this year. You only need a C value dismount, so the double tuck fulfills that group, but guys are still choosing to go for those Ds.
That is awesome. I was not even aware of that.
Nikki Franz bringing home another stick for Arizona. I wish you guys could see the crowd. Man can turn around, show the crowd. Next to the stanchions right there. There's so many people in this arena right now. It is so great to see. All right, taking the floor from Washington. This should be Xander Agate. Fantastic.
Blind landing over there. I mean, yeah, that Arabian double front, it's a fun skill to do, but you got to have some air awareness.
Absolutely. Getting into his non-acrobatics here. And we're actually going to take a little closer look at this routine. We're going to enjoy some great gymnastics from Washington right here, finding that stick. Bringing home some artistry into his corner transitions. Big front fold to front half. Those connected bounding passes are so much fun, and they stack difficulty so fast, but they are so risky because every floor on every surface is a little bit different. Brings home a nice stick there. Should be coming into a dismount. He's got to be tired at this point. Let's see what he's got for us right here. Big back 2.5 with that blind landing and finding a stick for the Huskies.
It's so difficult when you're standing in that corner. You know the clock's running down. You're so tired. Your legs feel like they got cinder blocks wrapped around them. And you got 2 seconds to go and execute that dismount, and he does a great job there.
And taking to the horse for Sun Devil, this is Vivek. Beautiful hip extension that Chaz was talking about earlier.
And this may not come as a surprise to most of you, but when you're doing those elements going back and forth, Magyar Savato, it hurts a lot if you kick that pommel. So he does some great extension there, great routine, great execution.
And taking to the still rings for Arizona State, this is Ethan DiGirolamo. We watched this twin brother, Caden, on floor earlier. They are just such incredible athletes, and it's unbelievable that they're also twin brothers. Beautiful front up rise forward or out called a keki. I love that skill so much. Holding those cross positions. Another interesting GymACT rule. Every iron cross position receives an extra 5/10 bonus. And the GymACT board did that because, Chaz, what's the most iconic skill in all of men's gymnastics?
You know, it is definitely that iron cross. And it was always so embarrassing being a guy with long arms that didn't do rings. Everybody asked you, can you do an iron cross? So it wasn't me. He does it for perfection. What a great dismount. That's clutch. That is clutch.
And that is 2 years in a row that he has stuck that dismount at the home meet. Love seeing all of the junior gymnasts that are competing in this competition throughout that days right here just begging for another t-shirt. All right, Andrew Lehman from Washington is on floor exercise. Things are getting a little rowdy over here. Things are getting knocked over. I love it. All right, Mark Davis taking the pommel horse. Mark is known for his pommel work. He swings a little slow, but he swings very, very well.
A lot of one pommel work. That takes some serious shoulder flexibility. If you're at home watching this, try to straighten your arms and hold your hands together behind your back. He's doing that while he's doing circles. It's very difficult. And great routine there. Way to finish. And he's fired up.
All right, we're in another one of those situations where the whole meet is done with rotation 3. And if you're Elliot Foster, you're standing on the rings, your whole team, both lineups have absolutely been killing it. And you're, I believe, a freshman, maybe a sophomore, and all the pressure is on this right here.
Well, it's a big moment, and the judges are giving him plenty of time to sit there and think about it.
And let's see what he's got for us right here on still rings from Elliot Foster. Huge front uprise to V hold. Very, very rare.
You don't see that a lot.
Just
and those Yamawakis, beautiful.
Yep, those connections we've seen guys struggle with. Elliot's not struggling with him here. Can he keep his nerves at bay? The arena is packed. His team is loud. He is set for a great end of the routine. Let's see if he can keep it together. Come on, Elliot.
Not a lot of times you're seeing an over-rotation there on a double-double to end a routine like that. Tough break.
Absolutely. Other than that, such a great routine from Elliot. To me, it just looks like he got a little gas at the end, and then his emotions might have taken over him just a little bit. He checked the handstand going into that dismount, and Chaz, that was always a struggle for me, is if I hit the handstand out of the giant, but I wasn't locked and ready for that bail, and I had to check it like he did, it always broke my confidence just a little bit going into the dismount. And actually, the last routine I ever saluted, that's exactly what happened. Hit the handstand out of the giant, was a little behind it, had to check into the straps, and just wasn't confident in the dismount and ended up under-rotated. So it is incredible that Elliot just put a little extra English on it and actually ended up over-rotating a D-value dismount. All right, rotation 3 is in the books. We are at the turn, as they say. We're moving on to the second half of the meet. I will be getting scores here shortly, and I'm going to be very excited. Chaz, what do you think? Who do you think is leading this meet at this time?
ASU put together a nice ring lineup there. I saw a couple of falls over on P-bars, so I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona State is overtaken Rocky Mountain here, but it doesn't mean that it's by any means over as we go into the fourth rotation.
Absolutely, because when we're talking about 3 scores counting, it really only takes if one guy has fallen, 2 guys have fallen, they still might have 3 solid scores, and if they're only a point or 2 down, that can be made up so fast in these meets.
It really can. It really can. And it looks like we've got another rotation over here on high bar, so we'll have all 6 events going.
All right, 2-minute warm-up has begun. They've got 2 minutes to get at least 5 athletes through their warm-up turns as SC United joins us back into the fight on floor exercise. Washington will be headed to horse. Another strong rotation for Washington, but we'll see. Horse is never a guarantee, so we'll see what they can do right there, see if they can stay in this fight and kind of stay up there in those top 3. Sun Devil, which is the maroon lineup from Arizona, will be taking the rings. Arizona State will be headed to vault. That's one we're going to watch kind of closely as Bay Area puts up 5 on P-bars, and Rocky Mountain takes the high bar. We'll see if Rocky Mountain can pick up just a little bit on high bar right here after that little bit of a rough rotation on P-bars.
When you've got there's some interesting kind of tradecraft happening here when you look at the 2-minute touch. It's kind of an unspoken code that everybody's got about 15, 20 seconds. And so you got to be mindful of your teammates and giving everybody a chance so that last guy up doesn't get the short end of the stick. And, you'll see some guys during this 2-minute touch that'll throw their biggest skill or a skill they're worried about that they want to just do one time before the competition. And then you'll see other people that'll just go up there and do some basics, just get the blood flowing. So you kind of get a feel for what people are thinking about based on the turn that they take during this 2-minute touch.
Absolutely. And this 2-minute one touch can be everything you need, and it can be everything you don't, all in about the same 10-second period. If you're warming up, go ahead.
But yeah, there's times where if you do decide that you're going to throw that big skill one time to kind of get your mind right and you miss it, well, now your turn's over, and now that's all you're thinking about as you salute is, I already missed it in warm-up. So it is definitely going to play mind games on you, that 2-minute touch. It's so critical.
All right, as this 2-minute one touch winds down, Arizona did exactly what they did at GymACT Nationals. They took the lead from rings. Their ring lineup is so strong. Last year they were in third after rings. They took over first and no one could catch them, and that's exactly what's happened here. Arizona State 159.1 after 3. Washington coming in with a 150.95. Followed by Rocky Mountain with a 152.5. So Rocky Mountain has held on to that second place over University of Washington. So that's going to be an interesting battle to continue to watch as Sun Devil lineup keeps up with a 141.1, and Bay Area Bandits bring it up with a 138.5. So Rocky Mountain versus Washington is really the battle we're going to watch. The Arizona State lineup should be able to hold on to that lead, but the rest of these guys are in a fight, that's for sure. Back to the action on floor. This should be Peter Sabo from SoCal United, and on vault, that was Aiden Myers from Arizona State.
It's a nice vault there, and there's some tradecraft associated with where you start your run from on vault. I always subscribe to this methodology that I was going to take 12 steps before I hurdle and hit the springboard. But you'll see these guys have a specific amount of runway that they need to have, whether it be 65, 70, 75 feet that they need to get to top speed. But that is a big thing that goes through your mind when you're on vault and you're going to salute your routine.
Absolutely. It is very, very difficult, and it's so easy to mess that run up. Like you said, it is down to a science. Zach Miller on the P-bars from Bay Area. Zach finding that handstand nice and strong. You've got to hold. Anytime you see a guy still on P-bars, they must hold it for that 3 full seconds. Did a great job of it there. Taken to high bar from Rocky Mountain Mavericks. Let's see if Ethan Zenick can help keep Rocky Mountain where they are on that scoreboard right now. It is huge that Rocky Mountain is in second place at the Southwest Cup.
And this first routine's important, especially on high bar. It's one of those apparatus where momentum is everything, and you want to build off the guy that went in front of you. And I've been on both sides of it. I've been on where I'm the 6th guy to go and 5 guys fell before me, and when everybody hits, it's a lot easier. And that's a great start for them over there on high bar.
And Bradley Stroud taking the leather from Washington. And like I said, there's a scoreboard up. I'm sure they know they're in third right now, and that's not a place Washington is used to being. So let's see if they can really lock in. And that's exactly what he did right there. From Arizona State, Ryan Swachino laying down a big vault.
And you see there on the mat, they have these white lines that are almost in a triangle shape. You will get deductions if you fall outside of those lines with your landing, or you take a step outside of those lines, very similar to what you'll see on floor with the boundaries. So not only are you trying to get your vault all the way around and land on your feet, but you're landing inside those lines too.
All right, we're on rings with Austin Witt from Arizona, and we are on parallel bars with Eric Chang from Bay Area Bandits. Bay Area has really gained some depth and some difficulty just since June of last year. Big double back from Bay Area. All right, taking a high bar from Rocky Mountain is going to be Cody Myers. He, like you said, Chaz, high bar is definitely one that relies on some momentum, and their first guy up definitely got that train running. Let's see if Cody can keep it going.
And Cody starts in a mixed grip there. It's unconventional, but you always like to see how people want to construct their routines, and a huge Tkachev for him.
Absolutely. Alex Trent taking a floor from SoCal. Let's keep an eye on Rocky Mountain. They're on high bar right now. They're in second. I believe at this meet last year they were in second for a little bit, but weren't able to hang on to it. And this year I don't think they're going to let go of it.
That's a great start for them over there on high bar. Looks like they're real happy with that set.
Absolutely, they should be. We're taking a P-bars. I'm sorry, taking a vault. This is Isaiah from Arizona with a giant vault there. Holy cow. Team's rushing down there to meet him at the end.
And that's a big stick. You love to see that. And yeah, you'll get those guys down the runway to celebrate over there next to the judges table when you see something like that.
And that was a stuck vault from Arizona. On P-bars, we've got Ezekiel Eason from Bay Areas.
And I mean, I can't say enough how terrifying vault is and how terrifying that vault specifically is. I mean, you got 1 second in the air to pull your body around, 2 full rotations, keep your legs straight. There's 100 things that have to happen in an instant. So anybody that can pull off a vault like he just did and stick it, it's an incredible thing to watch.
All right, this is an exciting one. Zach Murray from Washington on pommel horse with Evan McGrath on high bar from Rocky Mountain. This is set versus set. These are the two teams battling it out for second. And we are here. We're going to fight back on probably one of the hardest ones to keep a good score on. And Washington is absolutely crushing it. Let's see if Rocky Mountain can answer with a good dismount right here.
Well, pommel horse is already a hard event and a pressure event no matter what. And so to be fighting for a spot on the podium and on pommel horse is a double whammy. And that was a clutch set out of Washington there.
Absolutely. Big dismount. Mountain, they just answered Washington on horse. That was incredible. On rings, we've got Brandon H. from Sun Devil.
And we talk about the momentum, that high bar team now 3 in a row.
Senator Benedway, unfortunately, just coming in a little short on that vault and sitting it back.
And that was a 2.5 on vault, so that's a blind landing, 2.5 full rotations. I mean, such a hard vault to keep inside those white lines and just not quite enough on it.
And that was another stick on rings for Arizona as William Pierce from Bay Area Bandits takes to the parallel bars. Eric Sherbert taking to the floor from SoCal United. Wow. You see that, Chaz?
I missed it.
Huge double back. William Pierce is not the smallest guy out here, and he's throwing down some big gymnastics. And honestly, Chaz, I always hated when people are like, oh, you know, this guy's too big to be good at gymnastics or whatever, because when the guys are taller or just bigger set, more of like a bodybuilder type build, it really does make the gymnastics just more impressive because there's just more human being flying through the air.
Yeah, and Pierce is holding it down for his team there. And I mean, when you're tall, especially on P-bars, you got to really think creatively about how you're going to construct a routine if your legs are dragging. And over here on high bar, they're continuing to keep that momentum. Nice Tkachev.
This is Jacob Krebs on high bar. Kwas, you don't see those very often. That was that full twisting giant he did as Riley Lineman takes to Washington. These are set for set. Another strong set for Rocky Mountain. Let's see if Washington can answer it. Keep an eye.
Mounting.
This is Jackson
with
Harrison
a hard,
from Arizona State.
Yeah, mounting with a hard scissor combination there on pommel horse. It made it look easy.
Jackson laying down a real nice Yurchenko double full there on vault.
And you can see on those vaults, on the Yurchenko specifically, they've got that mat that they put their hands down on as opposed to the runway. And I mean, just like the amount of steps you take to run up to the board, that mat is placed very precisely to the millimeter. And it looks like everything was set up well because that was a great vault and a hard vault.
This is Chris Brundage from Sun Devil on rings as Sam takes to P-bars from Bay Area. And, you know, there from Bay Area. And Rocky Mountain right there on pommels. Chaz, I don't know who's going to be able to hold on to this at all.
When it's important to note that Rocky Mountain is going to be going into floor exercise, as I mentioned, usually a higher scoring event compared to Washington going into rings. So we're going to have a nail biter on our hands going into this next rotation for sure.
Absolutely, and it does appear Rocky Mountain will be scratching their last athlete on high bar, so they're done as Washington still has two more up to answer everything they just laid down. This is Andrew Lehman ready to go on pop. Great stick from Chris on rings, another local Arizona guy.
And such a hard combination there on pommel horse, and a nice fight. Now these guys will do 50 circles during this routine, and just doing 50 circles alone is hard enough. And looks like Lehman ran out of gas a little bit there at the end.
And that's a big one because, as I said, you know, Rocky Mountain only had 4 guys up on high bar, which means they only get to drop one of those scores. You know, we're really finding some depth here. And Washington had a few extra guys to be able to answer Rocky Mountain. And Andrew, one of their stronger pommel guys missing his dismount like that is a big deal.
And you always want to try to have some gas left in the tank. That's hard to get that handstand around. I know when I was competing horse out in college that they would make us do, you know, 50, 100 circles at a time without coming off. Just really puts you in a position where you've got to fight through and continue to do these circles so that when you get time to compete it, you're still fresh going into that dismount.
All right, we've got Silvano Mezu taking to the still rings for the Sun Devil Maroon team. Right into that back uprise iron cross, such an iconic position.
Now I could do an iron cross if I stand on the ground and hold the rings out. And, you know, you just take a picture from the waist up. Nobody ever knows.
I don't think you get the 5'10" bonus for that, Chaz. You know, I'm a taller guy. I worked so hard that I finally got credit for my my iron cross, and it was one of the most proud moments of my gymnastics career. That's for sure.
And a double front there on rings. You don't see a whole lot of double fronts off of rings. It's a scary dismount. It's a risky dismount. And a little bit of an over rotation, but to be throwing that down on the competition surface is a bold move.
All right, Carter Hawthorne from Washington taken to the leather on pommel horse. Right after watching Andrew come off the horse, he's got to stay calm and keep those hips extended to find a hit for his team.
And so far, so good. I mean, the form that we're seeing out of him right now is fantastic. And we'll see if he has enough gas in the tank here coming in. Oh, and that's a tough way to go off.
And, you know, Chaz, I think we're starting another tradition. Last year when I was commentating this meet, every single time I started talking about pommel horse and getting excited about it, the guy would come off. So maybe we just need to stop talking about horse.
Yeah, it's definitely the event you'll see the most falls on throughout the competition normally.
Up for his dismount. Strong horse. We're going to find out if that was enough to keep them in the fight against Rocky Mountain. Mark Davis, last up athlete from the Sun Devil Maroon lineup right here on the still rings.
And like I mentioned, this 2 to 5 minutes where you're waiting for the judge to salute you, so tantalizing. A lot going through your mind. You're trying to think about your routine and visualize it. It's just you want to get up there and compete. And here he goes.
And, Chaz, like you said on vault, the starting place on vault, the hand placement on vault, and the way you prep for a routine is very what's the word I'm looking for?
Methodical.
Yes, methodical. There's always a ritual. It's very ritualistic how they get ready for these routines. And if you get iced out by a set of judges like that, where you got to stand there an extra 2 minutes, it can completely throw off the whole rhythm of the prep, and you've got to be strong enough to handle it mentally.
When you think about the 2-minute touch, right? Like if you're the last guy going, it's been 20 minutes already that you're just standing there. So to be standing on the mat, waiting, it's hard. He makes it look easy there. Great dismount, way to finish.
Great finish from Sun Devil Maroon team right there on rings as we head into rotation number 4.
We're on 5, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're correct. That was rotation.
You're just having too much fun, dude.
I'm losing track of it. I've had my juniors at the competition all weekend. I'm, the black walls with the fluorescent lights. You just kind of lose track of all time.
Yeah, we're in a wormhole.
All right, we're gonna get scores here in just a minute, and Chaz, I honestly don't know. I think the Arizona State Gold Team lineup definitely had a really strong showing on vault, so I don't think that anyone's going to be able to catch up to them out of that rotation. However, Rocky Mountain had a really strong lineup, and they only needed 4 scores to count for the team. So every single one of Rocky Mountain's guys counted for the team, and that may be why they scratched their last guy. They put up 4 strong ones. Strongest swinger that's just their 5th man up in case they need him, and maybe they just decided they didn't need him up on high bar there, so they got their strong 4 scores. Washington only had 5 guys up, so they had to count a fall right there. So the likelihood of Washington catching Rocky Mountain in that rotation is going to be very slim. However, Washington had a lot of stacked difficulty in their horse routines.
And the 5th and 6th rotation are where champions are made. I know that we're a little past the halfway mark, but really after the 4th rotation is when you start feeling like you're coming into the home stretch. And if you're in the Olympic order, like Arizona Gold is here, going into P's and then high bar to finish it, those are 2 events where anything can happen. You got high flying skills, you got a lot of risk and difficulty there. And so we'll see how they handle the pressure here, and if they can hold on to the lead that they've got.
Absolutely. Arizona's always done well at home, especially in a crowd and an energy like this. The Arizona Gold Team has this pack, and I'm going to call them a pack or gaggle of junior gymnasts that have been competing all weekend, just following them around the arena. And Chaz, that just, you get a little bit of a kind of a rock star mentality when that happens. I know we actually got in trouble one year when you stuck your high bar routine senior night. It might have been your junior or senior year. We finished on high bar, and I'll never forget it. You did it one year, and our teammate Thomas Hansen did it one year, where we actually took a 3/10 behavioral deduction because you hit the mat and we met you there and tackled you because the excitement was just too much to handle, and with that 3/10 deduction we still won the meet, so that's what counts.
Sometimes you have to, but I think that you get some tailwinds with the crowd being in it, your teammates being in it, and when you're out of gas, and especially these guys that have competed 3-4 events thus far, or they're all-arounders, you almost need to tap in on these last two routines into the crowd, into your teammates to just get you through to the end. I know it doesn't seem like a whole lot of physical exertion if you're sitting around, you're only doing, 2-minute routines at a time, but the mental drain that it takes out of you, it can be measured. I mean, like I said, you're cheering for your teammates, you're going crazy mentally, there's so much stress on your mind. I mean, you forget we're competing on a concrete floor here with mats that are not very well broken in. And so, there's a lot at stake. This is dangerous stuff that you're doing. You're risking your life a lot of the time out here. And so that mental toll that it takes on you on top of cheering for your teammates and everything that goes into competing, those couple of routines that you do, that makes you just as tired as running, 10 miles on a track sometimes.
Absolutely. These competitions, I did all the strength in the world, but I was always the most sore after competition. All right, we are here. Rotation 5, Rocky Mountain Mavericks starting on floor with Gavin Robbie as Austin Witt starts on vault for Sun Devil.
And this is where those little 1/10 hops and little steps on your dismount make all the difference. They add up. I mean, think about it. If you stick every dismount versus take a little tiny step on every dismount, you could end up a point ahead or a point behind.
All right, Arizona State gold team putting up their first guy on parallel bars. This is going to be Caden DiGirolamo, who we saw earlier on floor, another great athlete to watch, all the power and strength of the world. Keep an eye right here as he starts his parallel bar routine. Rocky Mountain laying down a great start to this rotation.
And over here on P-bars, they're talking about how he's going to remount, what the routine's going to look like from here. That's a tough blunder to start. And so the rest of his team's going to have to pick it up for him.
Absolutely, as Eric Chan takes to the leather for SoCal United. Caden back up on P-bars. Going to rings, Riley Lineman from Washington. Picking up from his vault on horse. Let's see what he's got right here. Really struggling with that double Yamawaki connection. I don't know why we're seeing so many guys struggle with that tonight.
You lose the pressure on the rings, the tension on the cables, and you're going to just go up and straight back down. The key to that skill is really being patient and keeping the tension in the rings.
Absolutely, as Zach Miller takes the high bar for Bay Area.
Now you'll see over there. Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, on floor, Ethan Zenek taken to the floor for Rocky Mountain. They had a great start. We're going to see if they can keep building to hold on to this second place.
You'll see on P-bars, these guys all have their own kind of flavor of prep. You can turn the bars in and out, and so there's a certain width of the parallel bars that these guys are going to want. And then there's usually some kind of concoction of honey and chalk and maybe a little bit of saliva that keeps you attached to the bars. And so everybody has their own kind of flavor of prep. You'll see some guys out there that want a grip brush going to the bars, and you'll see some psychos that just put a little chalk on and that's all they need. But it kind of depends on your flavor and really the skills that you're doing. I mean, some of these mounts require that you have a false grip to start on P-bars, and so it's always interesting to see the kind of NASCAR pit crew that's going out there in between P-bar routines to get the bars ready for them.
And speaking of P-bars, this is Aiden Myers from Arizona State's gold team, starting with a very interesting in-bar kip there to mount. That's a very, very rare mount, but he does it so well. High risk, high reward, that Healy element there.
And a tough fall over there on floor. We're continuing to monitor to see that fight for second place.
Here comes a big dismount from Aiden. Huge double front, blind landing, 2 flips. That is incredibly difficult, just steps it back.
And you got to, he squatted out of that one. It's real easy to put your butt down when you're under rotating that dismount. And so clutch by him, especially with a fall on the first routine, to get that dismount around and try to build some momentum for the rest of his guys.
Absolutely. Albert Chang on high bar for Bay Area Bandits. Holy cow, that was German Giant through to Tkachev. You do not see that.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever seen that, Kevin. I thought I saw everything on high bar by now, but that was new for me.
All right, and real quick, we're going to take a pause from the commentator to bring home some score updates because it's really getting interesting. Arizona State gold team is running away with it with a 214.85 after 4. Then, here we go. Here comes the battle we're looking at. University of Washington, 198.05. And Rocky Mountain Mavs holding on to that second place with a 200.25. Wow. Holding on to such a strong second place. And there's a strong fight here between Sunnyvale Maroon lineup and Bay Area Bandits. Bay Area Bandits up to 188.3, where Sun Devils holding on to a 189.75. With SoCal coming out with a 106.05, missing that high bar rotation. Some exciting gymnastics and some great, what I call fender racing, happening on the scoreboard. All right, back to the action on rings. We're watching Xander Agat. Alex Trent is on pommels for SoCal currently. Well, I believe that was Sean from Sun Devil laying down a beautiful cause. And this is Hunter Fletching taking a P-bars for Arizona State gold lineup.
And you'll see that springboard get put in different spots on these mounts. Generally, you've got a go-to guy on the team that you want pulling the springboard for good luck, and he has a great mount there.
Marshall Burrows taking to the floor for Rocky Mountain, laying down a stick. These Rocky Mountain Mavericks, man, they are here with just a whole other attitude about them this year. I don't know if they've got some talent or if they've just finally grown in that depth to build that culture we were talking about, but they are coming out with a vengeance, and they want a statement. They want everybody to know they're here, and they're doing such a great job of it. On high bar, William Pierce for Bay Area. Keep an eye on this one. We're going to see another very unique high bar routine. Check this out right now. He's going to go back into those German Giants that we saw earlier from Albert.
Oh, wow.
And Tkachev's out of it. That's two guys from Bay Area doing that connection that is so unique.
Yeah, talk about your shoulder flexibility. I mean, we're seeing L-grip Giants, we're seeing German Giants taking a toll on his shoulders. I mean, there's so much shoulder flexibility that you have to be able to do all of those skills, especially in one routine like that. And he caps it off with a nice dismount, and that's going to help them out on their race for, I believe, fourth place there against the Maroon team, Kevin.
Absolutely. And Mikey getting ready to take to the horse for SoCal as William Howard is ready to go on P-bars for Arizona State's gold. And Brett Balser, Sun Devil Maroon, laying down a big vault right here. 2 twists. Great landing from Brett.
And another little known thing about the vault, but you can move that thing up and down. And so generally the coach is standing down there. He knows what setting and how high up you like the vault. And so that thing will go up and down all night in terms of where people want it to be so that they can get a nice block off of it.
Yep, and this is William Howard on P-bars for Arizona State as Andrew Lehman takes to the rings for Washington. Very, very nice iron cross there with his grip open, showing he's in complete control.
And you see a lot of these guys out here with what's called KT tape and a great double front dismount over there on P-bars, what's called KT tape. And it's not your standard athletic tape. It's got some stretch to it. Usually it's used to kind of pull your muscles together. If you have a strained muscle or something bothering you muscularly, that KT tape can really help your muscle feel a little bit stronger, and pulls around a nice dismount there. And that's going to be big for them. They needed that.
Yeah, they really did. Sam Morales coming in strong. Big double back for Bay Area over there on high bar.
Now that double front we saw, Kevin, on P-bars, we've seen a few times. You need to be entering into that double front from a front uprise, which is tricky because you've got to have a very good front swing coming out of that front uprise to have enough power. And it's almost like a vault that you're doing off of the P-bars. I've seen a couple of people do it really well tonight.
And Jacob Krebs from Rocky Mountain is putting down a floor clinic. Chaz, I don't know if you saw it, but he went whip to 2.5 connection, and he is just sticking and finding his landings all over the place. Rocky Mountain is really, really coming in strong here.
Yeah, that whip connection is tricky, and for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a no-handed back handspring done very low to the ground. And so the control that it takes, the timing that it takes, very, very tricky.
Elliot Foster on P-bars for Arizona State's gold team.
And a beautiful routine. He's in control. He's commanding those P-bars right now. All of the angles, and a beautiful bobstar right there. That's a Tkachev on P-bars. And he's just using the bars, man. You don't see a lot of people going down and back like a floor routine on those parallel bars. A big dismount. And it's a home meet for Arizona State. We'll see if they give him a stick. It was questionable. I wasn't sure if I saw the flag go up. It looks like they may not have given him that one, but a beautiful routine. And what a way to build some momentum going into high bar for these guys.
Well, I don't know if they actually gave it to him, but, you know, the team definitely thought it was a stick. They called that stick for sure, and I could see his feet from here. I think it was. I hope the judges gave it to him because that was such a great routine from Elliot Foster. All right, we are on rings now with Bradley Stroud from Washington, and Bradley really needs to pick up here.
Yeah, those sticks, it's kind of like when you're asking the ref in a football game to throw a flag, right? You got to just, you got to own it. You got to think that it was a penalty or not, and you know, that team pulled it off. They acted like it was a stick, and that might have influenced the judge and whether he thought it was a stick or not.
All right, Bradley Stroud taking to the still rings from Washington. Beautiful V-hold there. Again, very rare. You don't see that very often. There's that double Yamawaki connection. Bradley's doing exactly what Washington needs him to do right now.
Yeah, he is in control, and it's going to come down to these giants and this dismount.
Ooh, small check there. He's got to stay calm. It's the biggest thing when you get in trouble in these handstands. He has to stay calm, and he does. Dismount. Finds a great landing for Washington. Bart Baker taking to the floor exercise from Rocky Mountain. Rocky Mountain's had another great rotation. Let's see if Bart can keep that going.
Yeah, and Rocky Mountain's going to have to finish on horse, so they really want to be building this lead up because Washington's going to be going into a high-scoring vault, and they're going to be coming into a lower-scoring pommel horse. So it is really important that they build up as much of a lead as they can going into the last event.
And up on P-bars for Arizona State Gold's team, we have Isaiah. I believe he's doing what we call an exhibition set. Sometimes you can get one extra guy to go up. His score won't count for the team, even if they need it. It just means that normally coaches put these guys up when they want to see what they can do under meet pressure. So he buys himself an opportunity to compete here tonight without his score counting for the team. And he makes an argument to be a part of that P-bar lineup for sure.
Yeah, I know in practice they'll put you up in pressure sets. They'll have everyone in the gym watch you, but nothing really emulates the competition setting. And so that might be what he needed to crack into that P-bar lineup.
And Bart Baker is just doing what Rocky Mountain's been doing all night. Like you said, Chaz, he's trying to build that that lead, so when they go into pommel horse, they've got a little extra in the tank. I was trying to look. Can't tell if the judge saluted him or threw the stick for that. I don't believe he got the stick. But we are headed to rings for the last two routines of this rotation. Zach Murray for Washington. Let's see what he's got right here.
Yeah, this is a big set for them, and cross pull out. It's so easy to bend your arms pulling out of that cross, and he does a great job.
Very, very nice rings work. Washington is really, really showing it off. Wow. Lock arm press with their shoulders all the way off the straps. It sounds silly to be so excited about it, but that is really what that's supposed to look like, and not many guys can do it that well. Let's see if he can find a good landing right here in his dismount. Ooh. That's going to be interesting, Chaz. It looked like his knees might have just brushed the mat, which, interesting enough, is not an actual fall. It's not a 1 point deduction if you make contact with it. It's whether the judges think those knees showed support. If they think they actually showed support on the mat, it's going to be a 1 point fall, which could be a very, very interesting turn of events for Washington.
Well, the judge has the authority to take quite a bit on a dismount like that. They can take a lack of preparation. They can take a lack of body positioning. And they can take steps and possibly a fall. So we'll see how much they take there on that dismount.
But Washington's had a great rotation. They actually have 6 guys up in their ring lineup, which I do believe means that this last routine from Drake Minsel, I believe I mispronounced his last name there incorrectly, but Drake, I believe, should be an exhibition routine right here. So, these exhibition sets are so interesting because in the college gymnastics space, albeit D3, D1, NC2A, or GymACT, it's all about the team, and what you do as an individual doesn't matter if it doesn't benefit the team. But right now, Drake, if he is an exhibition set like I believe he is, he's got to be almost selfish with his mentality. He's got to be that I'm here for me, which is very, very rare in this college space. It's hard to get into that mentality when in reality, you got to be here for the team. So, Chaz, as an athlete, what do you do to switch your mentality in these high pressure situations?
I mean, there's nobody out there but you, and it's unlike any other kind of team sport where you got 12 guys or 11 guys on the football field. It's just you, and it adds a little bit of pressure. You're competing against your best version of yourself. So we'll see here what he can do as the last guy up in this rotation. All eyes on him here on this ring routine.
Absolutely, and here we go. Final rotation, or final routine of the rotation. This is what it's all about right here. Let's see what Drake's got for us. Coming out strong with that Yamawaki that stops in an L hold called a Hamna. Here we go. We're going to see, I was expecting to see some more Yamawaki work after that. Fighting for that hold. Here we go. Yamawaki connection gets through easy. This is a great looking routine from Washington.
It looks like we may not have gotten a full hold there on that cross, but he's going to power through it here.
It's very important. You must stay completely still for 2 complete seconds. Big front 1.5. Chaz, we're seeing that front dismount, that front twisting dismount more than I think we ever have.
Yeah, it's got a very interesting technique in order to make it so you don't rotate too much, but you rotate just enough. It's almost like a reverse candlestick. That backswing, you've got to be so arched, and you got to be pushing down so hard on those rings. It's a sport of timing, and a dismount like that is all about timing.
Absolutely, and here we go. We are headed into rotation 6. This is it. We have watched so many champions get crowned and champions get cut off at the knees in rotation 6 right here. Thank you all for staying with us. We've had over 70 people live with us all night. I'm so glad we're able to bring this to everybody watching at home. Thank you for being right here in the GymACT YouTube channel, and we're going to see what happens in rotation 6 here. See if Rocky Mountain can hang on to that second place, see if Washington can find their way keeping the pressure on second, and see if SoCal and Bay Area Bandits can keep pushing forward as the Sun Devil Maroon lineup keeps the pressure on Bay Area.
It's always interesting seeing, we've talked about the 2-minute touch here a bunch, depending on how tall the guys are and what release moves they're doing. Some guys will just jump straight up to that bar as opposed to opting to have a coach lift you up, so you can kind of carry yourself, give yourself a little bit of a swing as you start your routine. And then, there'll be a mat, depending on your release move, sometimes that you'll want slid in by a coach. So you're seeing a lot of movement over there, especially on the high bar, with mats getting slid and people jumping up, getting lifted up. Everyone has their own flavor.
Absolutely. And, it goes to what you were saying earlier about, sometimes you're out here risking your life. You're also out here, sometimes the coach is busy doing other things, verifying scores, things like that. Coaches have to run around so hard during these meets. I mean, I've been here all weekend with my juniors, and yesterday inside the competition floor, I'm pretty sure I walked a little over 20 miles. These coaches work so hard. So sometimes it's a teammate who's sliding that mat. So, a guy that you may be in a class with that, he's completely failing and he's kind of, maybe not the brightest, is the one you got to ask to slide that mat in. And man, you got to trust him.
Yeah, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to your point. For instance, there's coaches validating that the start value that they have for the guy is the same start value the judge gave them. In between rotations, you'll see oftentimes coaches coming up and talking to the judges. Generally, it's about start values. The coaches are not allowed to inquire about the difficulty or the execution piece of the score. They can't argue with the judge about how much someone bent their legs, but they can contest the start value that they were given based on the elements that they performed. And oftentimes you'll see those scores and inquiries overturned. Generally, there's a head judge that the inquiries will be elevated to, and he'll make the final decision on was the start value correct. But this is a game of inches. It's a game of tenths of a point, and even just something being evaluated as a tucked versus a laid out position on a dismount can be the difference between winning an event or winning a team score. So, that is happening in real time. You see a lot of these coaches have clipboards with the routines written out for their guys, and those are the things that go on behind the scenes that you don't really realize are going on. But quite a bit of work that these coaches are doing out here.
All right, it's getting exciting here. Arizona State gold team is at a 268.1. Unless they have a catastrophe of a lineup, looks like they're going to bring home the Southwest Cup again. But check this one out. Are you ready? The fender race we've been watching between Washington and Rocky Mountain. Rocky Mountain finishing rotation 5 with a 250.4, and Washington rotating to vault at a 249.4. This is going to be an exciting 1-point race right here as Washington lays down their first vault. The Sun Devil Maroon lineup coming up with a 241.6 to Bay Area Bandits 234.2, with SoCal rounding out the scoreboard at 136.1. This is going to be an exciting rotation. The big topic of this rotation is going to be horse versus vault, which Washington really should be able to take over right here. But let's see what Bay Area has got on pommel horse. All right, we are back in the action. Andrew Kirshner from Bay Area on floor currently as Trevor Ruggieri, who's our first vaulter. Ethan from Sun Devil taking on P-Bars.
And yeah, that's definitely a doable deficit to overcome there on vault for Washington. It's going to take some hits, but we'll see how Rocky Mountain swings pommel horse. That's going to be what determines this. And looks like we've got our first guy up here.
And first up from Arizona State's gold lineup, crowd favorite, Jackson Harrison. Risky combination. Oh, no. He did a Tkachev into what's called a Ginger. Very, very risky combination. Very, very rare that he misses that. So we'll see what Jackson does as he remounts. We're watching Rocky Mountain Open on, or Rocky Mountain Mavericks on the leather.
You'll see, and there's a great first set from Rocky Mountain. You'll see guys on high bar. Your time that you have, 30 seconds from the time you fall till you have to be remounting, the judge will have a stopwatch holding you accountable to that. Sometimes guys will stay down on the ground for a couple extra seconds to regain their composure, especially after missing a release move like that.
And first up from SoCal, this is going to be Peter Sabo, a freshman from Tehachapi, California.
And a third release move over there into a double front. You really never see that double front dismount on high bar. Risky dismount, doing flips back towards the bar. That is a metal bar, and it does not feel good if you hit it with any part of your body. So risky dismount, great dismount, and way to recover. It's hard when you fall on a release move, especially to come back and finish like that.
Right. Throwing down a double or a single flip with double twists. That is going to be hard for Rocky Mountain to answer. On floor, Ryan Edmondson from Bay Area.
Yeah, and like you said, Kevin, that might be the point that they get back, is the delta between that score on vault and the last guy that competed on pommel horse. So from here on out, Rocky Mountain has to know that the pressure is on if they want to defend that second place spot.
Absolutely. Austin Witt, we've been watching him all night, taking over, final performance of the night on parallel bars. Isaiah Maia from Arizona State taking the high bar.
And waiting on pommel horse before you get the salute, you end up having to re-chalk a few times. And it looks like he's about to get started. And a big release over there on high bar. That Yamawaki, you'll see a lot of guys pipe that. That looked pretty straight body. Nice Tkachev. And that one-arm giant, you're pulling about almost 2 Gs through the bottom of that. You know, with one hand, that's no joke. I've done that skill a million times, and it never gets less scary.
Absolutely. Rocky Mountain answering Washington's beautiful Acopian with a great pommel horse routine right there. Here comes dismount from Isaiah. I believe that was a stick. It's hard to see from over here. But, man, some exciting gymnastics in this last round. Bradley Stroud taking to the vault. Let's see if he can capitalize on that Acopian they just stuck. From SoCal, we got Alex Trent on the still rings. Bradley Stroud coming in hot. Beautiful Kazumatsu, only one twist, a little lower in start value, but still a 14-0, which is hard to find on pommel horse.
Now that vault surface is made out of, it kind of feels like a basketball. And it's an interesting kind of surface because chalk doesn't really stick to it. It almost makes your hands more slick if you're chalked up, hitting that basketball type surface. So the guys are always trying to find the perfect equilibrium of, you know, chalk to water combination so that they can get a great block off of that surface.
Absolutely. This is Chris from the Sun Devil Maroon team on P-Bars. Taking the floor exercise, this is Zach Miller from Bay Area.
Looks like a little step out of bounds there. It's not as big of a deduction as you might think, stepping out of bounds, but you know, those small points add up to larger deductions.
Justin Smith. I think we saw the same thing at the same time. Justin Smith over there on high bar from Arizona's gold team.
And that's bold, Kevin, not coming off the apparatus. He took obviously an empty swing and probably a large deduction, but he saved himself about 2/10 not coming off the bar there.
Here we go, big dismount from Justin. And that's a stick. It's a low landing, but it is a stick. Arizona State just running away with it. And, inside the entire GymACT space, the real battle is going to be Arizona State versus Minnesota. Minnesota has come out, Mike Burns out there, the head coach of Minnesota, took over as GymACT president. And I talked to Scott Barclay a couple weeks ago as they're posting bigger scores and bigger gymnastics. And head coach Scott Barclay at Arizona told me that he only wants one thing. Mike Burns wants to win, and that is what they're trying to do. They're competing tonight, so this is a big weekend for all of GymACT to see who's going to throw down right here. Marshall Burrows on the leather for Rocky Mountain.
And we're holding our breath here. This last vault, a lot of rotation, but looks like the gentleman from Washington rebounded into maybe the crowd. Hopefully he's all right. We'll get an update, but he looks like he flew off the mat, and we hope he's okay.
It does appear that our medical personnel standing by are going to go check him out. We'll bring you an update as soon as we have one. We hope he's okay. Back to action. Savant on P-bars. Big double back. Strong landing on still rings. Mikey from SoCal United laying down a beautiful planche.
And we obviously don't like to see anybody, getting injured. It does open the door, though, for the pommel horse rotation in Rocky Mountain. That was a very big vault. If they would have landed that vault, they might have closed the door on Rocky Mountain.
Hunter Fishing on high bar for Arizona State's gold team, throwing down great work. Let's see what he's got here as he winds up for his dismount. Beautiful routine.
And that dismount, you see a lot of guys doing that half straight, and it takes so much core strength to not pike. It's very easy to pike your legs around to finish that thing, and the guys that do it best are the guys that keep that straight body, and, you obviously avoid, if you don't pike, up to 3/10 deduction coming down onto the ground. So a great dismount, straight body dismount. And it looks like another fall over there from Washington on another big vault. They've done a couple of double twisting vaults, but can't seem to put them on their feet. So keeping the door open for Rocky Mountain here, if they can nail a couple of these pommel horse sets, might just hold on to that second place position.
Yeah, and that was Andrew Lehman on vault, who is actually doing a 2.5, and very, very rare to see him set that down. The athlete that went down on vault is up on his feet and walking away. Couldn't be happier to see that right there. Flying back onto the concrete is always very, very scary, but does appear they are up. They're on their own power. They aren't even walking with our medical team anymore, so it looks like they are okay. We're so, so happy to see that. But it definitely did leave the door open for Rocky Mountain, and it was very, very hard for Washington to keep their momentum going, keep this meet moving forward. So back to action. Sean from Sun Devil Maroon last up on parallel bars as Elliot Foster is flying for Arizona State's gold team.
And so far, so good on this high bar set. Great finish there on P-bars. And what he's doing there is L-grip giants. Now those are, and a little bobble here on this endo. Those L-grip giants are so, so difficult. It may look like he's in an undergrip, but he's actually got his hands wrapped in a 90-degree angle around the bar.
And here we go, Kyler Hartley from Rocky Mountain taking to the leather.
And this is a big set. A lot of pressure here for him on pommel horse. Let's see how he handles it. You can feel the pressure mounting over there in the pommel horse area.
Absolutely, and the pressure just got to be a little too much for him there, so he almost takes out our camera. Eric Chan up on rings in the background there for SoCal.
It's so hard to maintain your composure on pommel horse when you come off like that. He's talking to the coach now. This is big here on how they decide to finish the routine. Only 30 seconds from the time you touch the mat to have to remount. And it looks like they've gotten it figured out. They know what the plan is, and he's actually going to remount exactly where he fell off.
Yep, and as a coach, it's so hard to only have 30 seconds. You're emotionally invested to clear your head and really think, what do I have this athlete do? Does he have enough skills? Are we going to take more deduction trying to repeat it? What's going to happen here? All right, going to high bar from Arizona State Gold. This should be Aiden Myers, another great athlete to watch right here. Bay Area putting their last athlete up.
Pommel said they didn't give him credit for that dismount, maybe. It looks like he's going to have to repeat that. Like we talked about, if you dip your feet down and don't continue to rise through that handstand dismount, it will not be considered a hit dismount. And so the struggles on pommel horse and on vault, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And big dismount there over on high bar. And that's clutch coming down to the end of your lineup to be able to be putting up hit dismounts like that, hit stuck dismounts like that.
And there you go, Bay Area locking their score with that final routine. Aiden Myers throwing down some great high bar. We are down to the last two performances of the entire competition. Here we go. This is Evan McGarth on pommel horse, and Ryan Swachino will be taking a high bar.
This might be the most important routine of Ryan's life here on pommel horse. This is going to be the difference. Is if you bring this pommel horse lineup home.
And this is so interesting to watch. Washington has always been right there with Arizona in the club / GymACT space, even since GymACT was created. So this is history in the making if Rocky Mountain can hold on to this second place. Ryan Swachino, team captain on senior night right here for Arizona State's gold, taken to the high bar.
This is a big spot for him on high bar.
All right, and we're going to take it to the pommel horse. This is Evan McGarth.
And that was an awesome Yamawaki. You don't normally see the Yamawaki come from giants like that. That's a bold way to enter into that Yamawaki, and great routine so far. Let's see if he can finish it right here.
Both dismounts laying down, and that is a strong finish from both teams.
And what a clutch performance over there on pommel horse. I know everyone's eyes are over on Arizona State and the high bar, but what a clutch routine for Rocky Mountain there on pommel horse.
Oh, interesting. It looks like Rocky Mountain's putting up one more guy. Like I said earlier, this is most likely an exhibition routine where he's going to just try to show his coaches that he can handle this pressure. Like we were talking about earlier, no matter what you do in the gym, there's nothing like being in here in front of 1,000 people screaming their heads off, especially right now. The meet is technically over. So this is just for him. Rocky Mountain head coach Tabor and assistant coach Nate doing a great job out there in Colorado. Again, please make sure you take a second, make sure you hit that subscribe button for the GymACT YouTube channel. Thank you guys all so much for being here with us. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure that we can keep bringing you all the best content when it comes to GymACT. Here we go. Final routine of the night right here from Rocky Mountain. This looks like it's Jacob Krebs. It's most likely. We've seen him on all the other events, so he must not be in Rocky Mountain's pommel lineup, but he's doing it all around tonight as he comes off right there. Coach Tabor walking over 30 seconds to put it back together and try to keep an all-around score.
Yeah, you'll see some of these guys that maybe aren't as strong or in their top 5 on a couple of events, but they want to obviously get an all-around score to count. So, pommel horse is a tough place to end your day, and you want to bring it home and finish your all-around score high, and let's see if you can finish a set here and stay on the pommel horse.
All right, Jacob creeps up for his dismount. Oh, it's questionable whether that's credit or not. We'll see what the judges say.
We've seen a few people stumble on that pirouette there at the end. It's just takes such precise timing and weight distribution, and looks like he's gonna run it back one time here.
See what happens right here. And no pirouette. That's a smart move. Keeping it down to that B value dismount, but making sure it's nice and clean.
We should have the final tally coming in here soon, but what a great competition, what a great crowd, great venue.
All right, Chaz, it was such a great competition. What do you take away? What's the big takeaway tonight as we are about halfway through season and we're heading toward national championships?
Well, I mean, it goes without saying, Rocky Mountain. I'm impressed. I love seeing them stepping up to the plate, making some pressure sets, and what a big win for GymACT and men's college gymnastics. Seeing this crowd out here today, seeing this many guys and the energy, it's just a huge win for GymACT, and I look forward to seeing more teams make it out here to Southern Arizona. I mean, this is really a great meet, and it's growing in stature every year, and it's just been a pleasure to be a part of it and see these guys and how much they care, how much time they put in. But it'll come down to a couple of tenths, I imagine, here in this final score.
Absolutely. Chaz, thank you so much for being here. I've been waiting years to commentate one of these with you. It was so much fun. We're going to go ahead. Chaz and I are going to go ahead and sign off so we can watch the awards ceremony in a nice big picture for all of you at home. Thank you all for being here. Like I said, if you are not currently subscribed to the GymACT YouTube channel, please take a second, log into your YouTube account, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the action right here on the GymACT YouTube channel. Chaz, thank you so much. Thank you to both of our camera operators and all the support staff. Even pulling this off on YouTube over Zoom, it takes an army. So I want to take a second to say thank you to all the guys who volunteered to help us pull this off, and thank you all for watching. Stay right here for the presentation of the awards, because to be honest, we don't know what the scores are. We have no idea how this landed, but it was an exciting competition, and I can't wait to see what happens for Easterns and Westerns and GymACT Nationals.
Table. Well, that was. Now I ask him. Keep going.
There's one village in every gym. That's the issue. While our awards are being tabulated, we want to take this time to talk about our 6 senior athletes who have been with us for 4 years. This is their last year representing ASG as a gymnast. This is the time to show them how much we appreciate. Please direct your attention to the video screen that has the highlight of every one of these athletes. First, please welcome Noah Mason. Noah started gymnastics at age 16. With no mention as a program of his own faith. He was the first starting for the city of Minnesota. He competed on the team for 3 weeks of the season and reached all 10 after only 3 years of training with young. For Noah, the best thing about being on the team, my favorite part of being on my team is that I get to experience life with my best friends. I love having a team that supports me and that supports others, not just in the gym, but in life too. I wouldn't change it for the world. So, team captain, Jackson Harrison. Accompanied by the header, Caleb and Seth Butler. From Richmond, Rhode Island, where major organizational leadership and project management. Jackson's biggest accomplishment was competing at the U.S. Championships in 2023, along with winning the national team. Jackson says that the best thing in this team is the 50+ people who are supporting you, not only as an athlete, but as a person as well. Up next, we introduce the twin, thinking anything in trouble. I take any five of them. Will be first, Ethan, in trouble. Adrian, and first time at ASU. I want you to thank you because I love the school where it was. The weather is gorgeous out here in the gymnastics program was a great fit for me. Even with an All-American on his events 2 years in a row. Said his favorite quote, the difference between a successful person is not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack of weight. Quote makes a point. It says the best thing about being on this team, the team pulls me out of something I've experienced before in my life. We're all brothers, a part of one big family. We asked him what he wants to do when he goes to Gymnastics. He says strength and conditioning coach for a collegiate football team with the NFL is what he's looking to do. Something that most people don't know about this. He's a military kid, and it's lived in a place throughout his life, living to 23 years. Let's hear it, Rudy. I now think he's going also from fitness. He is majoring in sports science at ASU. He was an All-American on 4 and bars at GymACT Nationals last year. For him, the best thing about being on the team is that J.O. said it's such an individual thing. But when it comes to being on a college team, especially this team, everyone is doing everything they can for the team, not business. Hayden wants to go into physical therapy after practice. And something that most people don't know about him, he was in a music video with gym class here with a song, Fire, of 2 seconds. Hayden's first day, Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success. Greatness will come. Quote the wrong time. Let's hear it for Dave. Next, please welcome team captain Clayton Cunningham. Our team captain is from Ohio. He's majoring in business. The business major who made a passion and development issue and his first on the job with Edward Jones. He's a three-time All-American on Home Horses, Gymnastics. Clayton also side hustled all three college doing modeling work and even started in gymnastics apparel. Clayton's favorite quote: "Work quietly and let your achievements speak for you." Let's hear it for Clayton. Next, please welcome team captain Ryan Swansea. Ryan is from Philly, Illinois, majoring in mechanical engineering. When we asked Ryan, why did you choose ASU? He said, I chose ASU because it has everything I wanted. I was able to start my own journey away from home, continue gymnastics, and pursue a degree in mechanical engineering. His favorite quote: "The distance you travel in life is only determined by how far you're willing to go." The best thing that he said was to be on this team. He said, I have a family of guys who will have my back no matter what. And to this day, I believe some of the friendships I will have that will last me a lifetime. Fun fact: his frisbee throwing has improved greatly as a senior since fellow captain Peyton Pico and Ryan played frisbee in the gym on the last of the series. Let's go with that. I'm sure that for you. You can see this.
Right. Thank you, Daniel. What a great job. We got seniors on this team and their parents. I just want to say how important it is for a team. We talk about team all the time. There's one team. Parents, athletes, appreciate all you guys do. Parents especially. Thank you, parents, for putting up with the love of the sport they've got. And the passion they've had for years. And I just have so many of you guys know Coach Rob. He's been with us for 15 years now, and just done a heck of a job. And so I've got to say a few words about you guys. You guys have all been coached by Coach Rob for many years. For those who don't know, Coach Rob has ALS. And, kind of limited in what he does, but he comes into the gym every day and coaches these guys no matter what. And these guys in the junior program, which is fun. So I've asked him to share a few words about you guys because he knows you as well as anybody on this team. So, Rob, what do you got to say about these guys?
Praise to God, all of them. Maybe you guys started on this team. We were going through a really trying time. And as you guys kind of grew into your roles, you really worked through that, helped you together. And for that, work for everybody. You guys get outstanding. Ryan, you came in, took you a while to make the gold team, but you trying to get out, kept fighting, you're in there every day. I'll be running, you can make that line. Congratulations. It's great being a part of your dream. Good job. Next place, I immediately to Ohio State. Walked out of the middle of the floor. Says, hey, we'll be on your team. All right, maybe Gymnastics or I mean, look at you. A little did we know, this was probably, this is on the horse in the execution was beautiful. You guys saw tonight, I think you came away with it. Not as close. But, great gymnastics. We also don't know that it's really good reading, really good at high bar, really good to shoulder that hold not. I'm sure I put you have you team leader, we've got you. So thank you. It's so much stuff. 4 years ago, we finally fell apart. Maybe. Not like this. I'm sure you're used to it. Just joining. Your Alamos a little. These guys came to our team. They didn't know how much they wanted to really be on a committed gymnastics team, right? They wanted to just come play. So you chose our team. No, there were twice as hard being on an NC. You guys did. You guys grew, stepped up, great things. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Jackson. Jackson brought artistry to our team like no one has before. Jackson's gymnastics is absolutely beautiful. What you saw today, you know, Jackson was a part of my high bar crew. Ryan was as well. Those guys that are part of my high bar crew know how much I enjoy spending time with you guys over there. You're a great sport. You let me make fun of you. You let me cheer you on. I really enjoyed our time together. Thank you. And then lovely Noah, always there to help out, help my in-laws move into their house. Yeah, he's just always there. He's a great coach with the little girls in our gym. He's going to be a great coach for a long time, I think. And he was a grinder too, the guy that put in every single day and worked everlasting at making his goals. And you saw it today, it looked great. So thank you, Noah. You guys, what a great senior class. Great job.
I can't say much more to add to that. You guys went through 4 years of us, and I appreciate it. You've made our team what it is. You've left a legacy, and there's a lot more to come behind you because of what you've done. So another 10, great senior class. Let's hear it up for them, guys. All right, so we're going to have you guys join your teams, and parents, you can head back. Appreciate it. Thank you, and all the other teams, come on out to the floor. We'll have our award ceremony real quick here. Come on over, teams. We'll just line up on the floor. We'll make our presentation. Thanks for being patient, and a good night.
All right, athletes, here we go. We're going to start with floor. We're only announcing top 3. As you're recognized, please make your way up for our second, first, and third place persons, and then we will go from there. On floor, in third place from Washington with a 13.55, Bradley Stroud. In second place from Arizona State with a 13.65, Caden DiGirolamo. And in first place, also from Arizona State with a 14.0, Jackson Harrison. Athletes, salute. On pommel horse, in third place, from the Sun Devil team with a 12.6, Vivek Surav Venkata. In second place, from Arizona State, with a 12.85, Clayton Cunningham. And in first place, from the Sun Devil team, with a 12.9, Mark David. Athletes, salute. On rings, in third place, with a 13.9. Hold that. A tie for second place, with a 13.9. Both from Arizona State, Aiden Myers and Nikki Franz. In first place, with a 14.1, from Arizona State, Ethan DiGirolamo. Athletes, salute. On vault, also with a two-way tie for second place, both with a 14.15. From Rocky Mountain Mavericks, Jacob Krebs. And from Arizona State, Jackson Harrison. And in first place, with a 14.3, from Arizona State, Isaiah Malay. Athletes, salute. On parallel bars, in third place, with a 13.0, from Arizona State, Will Howard. In second place, from Washington, with a 13.05, Andrew Laban. And in first place, with a 14.6, from Arizona State, Elliot Foster. Athletes, salute. On high bar, with a tie for third place, with a 12.5. From the Bay Area Bandits, William Pierce. And the Rocky Mountain Mavericks, Ethan Zenith. In second place, with a 12.65, from Washington, Bradley Stroud. And in first place, with a 12.75, from Arizona State, Aiden Myers. Athletes, salute. All around. In third place, with a 74.25 from Washington, Andrew Lehman. In second place, with a 76.95 from Arizona State, Aiden Myers. And in first place, with a 77.05 from Washington, Bradley Stroud. Athletes, salute. And our team results. In third place, with a 292.1, Rocky Mountain Mavericks. In second place, with a 302.3, Washington. And in first place, with a 317.6, Arizona State. Please salute. Thank you all for coming out. That is a wrap for this year's Southwest Cup. Thank you for coming. Have a good night.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this presentation of the Southwest Cup. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, remember to like and subscribe this video, and make sure you subscribe to the GymACT YouTube channel so you don't miss anything else as the action continues into Western Conference Championships and National Championships.